But there is one point, Mike, I'd like to get your inputs on, and this one has to do with the peace initiatives to settle the Russia-Ukraine conflict. What am I referring to here? I'm referring to, for example, the Chinese initiative. I'm referring to the African Leaders Initiative. I'm referring to Turkey initiative, and I'm referring also to recent Saudi Arabia peace summit for Ukraine, which, by the way, and I'll focus on this one here, Russia wasn't invited.
Yeah.
What do you make out of all those, knowing that, for example, when I read the 12 points proposal by the Canadian President Zelensky, it was nothing there that says about the Russian speaker population in Ukraine.
Yeah. No, I think the meeting in Jeddah was, in a way, Zelensky was played, because if you consider the major players that took part in the summit, well, the hosts, the Saudis, right? These are all, if not allies, then friends, or at least people that are neutral in the Ukrainian-Russian war, but I would say with a more pro-Russian than pro-Western bent. So I think one of the reasons for the summit was to make Zelensky cognizant of the fact that your 10-point plan is garbage. So I think he came in there, he presented it to them, and they said, okay, unrealistic. I mean, how delusional do you have to be to continue speaking about regaining Crimea on August 10, 2023? I mean, whatever you think of Putin, it's not coming back, guys. It's just not coming back. And the only reason that it would come back, if you had enough luck and enough armed forces to do it, you would initiate a nuclear war, basically, because Russia's not giving it up. So, and notice that the statements that were coming after the summit were fairly pessimistic but realistic at the same time, whereby there was no conclusion. And I think one of the reasons, a lot of people said, oh, Russia wasn't invited. And at the beginning, I said, yeah, that's kind of stupid not to invite Russia. But I think it was a play on these, let's call them neutral friends of Russia, to say to Zelensky, look, Putin is not here. And we're telling you, not the Russians, but we're telling you this is unrealistic. So if you want to have a serious discussion with the Russians, your 10-point formula is going out the window, because you're not incorporating anything that is in line with Russian interests and Russian demands. And let's not forget, when the African leaders, they visited Putin a few weeks back, he showed them the draft agreements that were signed on behalf of Zelensky's government. So he already, in essence, agreed to something. Now, obviously, we know the history of what happened later. In April 2022, you had Borjo coming to Kiev and saying, no, we're going to arm you. You're not allowed to enter any peace deal with the Russians. But it was signed de facto by a representative of the Zelensky government. So in essence, he already agreed to something, because obviously this draft agreement must have been consulted with the presidential office. So I think you mentioned the Chinese peace plan. The Chinese peace plan, the one that was published at least, is a broad outline of the fundamentals on which any concrete peace plan should be based. So obviously, rejecting American hegemony, rejecting interference in the sovereign affairs of other nations, and so on. So basically the Westphalian issues, as some people say, that Xi Jinping has been propounding and promoting as the leader of China. The details of what the Chinese told the Ukrainians during that visit of the Chinese representative, I think it was back in May, we don't know, but I think for sure they were more in line with the realistic situation on the ground than that crazy peace plan by Zelensky. As a Pole, I can tell you, I'm a little bit worried that despite the fact that we were transporting the Ukrainian peace delegation to Belarus when they had those 2 rounds of discussions in Gomel before they actually went to Istanbul. It was actually Polish helicopters that transported the Ukrainian delegation to Belarus. So we were, in a way, a participant in these discussions because we were facilitating them, helping them out. So in essence, you can argue that we did believe that a negotiated peace is something necessary and something in the interest of all. It's sort of a symbolic way of saying it, but it is what it is. I, as a Pole, am ashamed that Poland hasn't come out with a peace plan, because the thing about Poland is Warsaw likes to present itself on the international forum as, we are these great experts of Eastern Europe. We're going to tell the rest of the world what the situation looks like. We're going to really tell you what the Russian characters is and what those bad Ruskies are up to, because we're experts. We've dealt with them for so many years. But at the end of the day, when it comes to concrete propositions of peace. And I think there could have been a very serious initiative coming from, Poland, Viktor Orban, and maybe throw Bulgaria in there and call it, I don't know, the Intermarmon or Central European Peace Proposition. Nothing of the sort came out. And I think Orban, despite his heroic fight for peace and for maintaining Hungary in the peace camp, feels somewhat alone in the fact that formally we're very close with Hungary, especially in the European Union forum. But he felt, I think, a little bit betrayed and a little bit surprised how hawkish the Polish government became after February 24th, 2022, whereby any discussion of a peace settlement, and even today, is still considered a betrayal, basically. That once we fix and patch up these problems between Warsaw and Kiev, the most important thing is to destroy Russia, dismember it, abolish Putin, and all the other yada yada. So at the end of the day, I think Jeddah was an operation in reason to show Zelensky that in those few hours that he spent there not snorting coke, because I think Saudi Arabia does not allow that. They basically told him, buddy, no, your peace plan, it's a joke. So if you really want to think about peace, start seriously talking to the Russians and take their interests into account, because there's nothing to support in what you presented to us.
Right. Wow. What a fascinating conversation, Mike. For our viewers, this is the type of information you guys can't find anywhere else, and I mean it. But also is the type of guests also we bring in over here. So where can you get somebody like Mike? Let's be realistic here. And I'm not saying it to be Mr. Nice. You guys know how I am. I don't sugarcoat things. But I have great admiration for people who can speak intelligently, objectively, and provide facts, historical facts. And Mike represents that one. Mike, where can our viewers find you?
Well, I made a debut on Substack last week, actually, because I had to set up a profile. I published an article on Scott Ritter's Substack, Scott Ritter Extra, where I basically called upon Bobby Kennedy Jr. to come to Warsaw and give a peace speech smack in the middle of Warsaw, sort of in line with what his uncle did when he came to Berlin. I think it was in '61, the famous Ich bin ein Berliner speech. So I guess Bobby would say now, Ich bin ein Varsovian or something like that. So that was my debut. You can find me Mike Krupa at Substack. I think I'll be producing more articles. My Twitter handle is @MGKrupa. That's where I post a lot of my stuff. My podcast is VotumTV, VOTUMTV, written together. You can find us on YouTube. We try to do a weekly program. We're expanding the channel. Had a lot of interesting guests. Just this Monday, we had Judge Napolitano, for example. Wow. On September, we're planning to have Sean Stone, the son of Oliver Stone, to discuss geopolitics and entertainment and how that relates. So, yeah, I think Twitter would be the best place to find me, where I post everything @MGKrupa. All my articles on my VotumTV recordings and interviews, and hope to be expanding the Substack. Yes.
Great. And I'm gonna, once we log off here and all that, I'll put all that together for our viewers and post it on our description platform there. So, well, Mike, I can't thank you enough, man, for really carving out time for us here. We truly, truly appreciate it, and I look forward to having you again. I might be coming to Poland your way. I'll give you a heads up so we can go grab a bite to eat again. So
yes, perfect.
Thank you so much, Mike. I appreciate it.
It was a pleasure. Have fun, guys. Take care. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, guys, this is the type of guest we like to bring over here, because we want you to become aware, become informed. And this is what this channel is all about. And to me, that's, where can we find information like this? So if you like the content, please hit that like button and subscribe. Help us out, move forward here, and show your support for this channel. We greatly appreciate it. We look forward to seeing you next time. As always, remember, geopolitics impact your daily life in more ways than one. Till next time. Bye-bye.